Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Tom and I'm here as always with Kelly. What's up?
Howdy everyone, how y'all doing?
Hey, and today our show is going to be a little bit different as we're not going to be talking about a specific firearm or be following our usual routine, but instead we're going to be talking about collecting MILSURP firearms, and more specifically we'll get into the different kinds of collectors out there, discuss the notorious pattern collector versus the get every gun ever made guys, and some stuff in between.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different types of collectors or kinds of collectors out there, man. There's a whole list what we can run through of. If you're looking to kind of build out your collection and figure out what you like, then we'll run through the list and kind of discuss what each one is like
and where we stand in that list. And also we're going to get into some categories and groups that Kelly and I have completed and are still trying to complete for our collection. We may not be pattern collectors per se, but we have our little groups we work on.
Yep, everyone kind of figures out their own little category that they fit into, or they just pick one that they like and just go for it.
And I didn't know this before researching, but there's a lot of folks out there that are pretty hardcore about even just the collecting category. Like, they think you have to have every single firearm in that range. And that makes sense if you're collecting one model only. You get every one that they ever made. But if you were collecting, say, German firearms of World War I and World War II, it might be okay for you to grab just one K98K and say you have that.
Yeah.
But some of these guys are a little more hardcore. No?
Oh yeah, there's some people that are really all about it, and I mean, you don't have to make your collection fit to somebody else's kind of rules. You make up your own rules. You make it what you want. This whole thing is for fun, so do what you enjoy. But if you wanna collect something, collect something. If not, don't. But yeah, there's some people that get real nuts about it.
And with the K98Ks, some say if you want to say you have all of them, you need every one with the years where the parts change from mill to stamped, and you need the ones where the code changed from, like 1938, the S42 changed to 42, so you need two 1938 K98Ks.
Yeah, people get real into it. And then for some of these rifles, there's a ton of tiny little variations here and there that just add on to the pile.
Yeah, so you need like 16 different variations, models, No, thanks.
Yeah.
So I'm somewhere like, in the middle. Like, I do think, if you're saying you're collecting the whole group, you should have the majority, the major variants of the group, but I leave out some of the experimental and things like that.
Yeah, I try to keep it realistic. And I mean, some of this, it gets just completely unaffordable for something like the super rare stuff.
And some people think it doesn't count if it's not matching. Now, we've talked about this before, but where are you on your caring on the matching and not, and if it counts as having one of your groups or patterns if it's not matching?
I'm not a big purist when it comes to that. I would rather have an example of something that I can hold my hands and shoot and take apart and learn about versus having one that's all matching. So if it's mismatched, I'd rather have an example than not have one. I mean, eventually, if I find a nice matching one, I'll replace my mismatched one, but I'm not a big stickler about it.
Does it depend on the rifle at all? Like, you're just lucky to have one, or for every rifle, if it's not matching at the time you get it, it's not matching?
For some, I would prefer them to be matching. So, for example, Swiss rifles are almost always matching. It's kind of weird if they're not. And those are easy to find matching, so I might as well get one that's matching because it's not a significant price difference whatsoever.
All right, so you'll take some non-matching. So before, in that group before, the German firearms of World War I and II, how many K98s would you say satisfies the need in that group?
Oh, K98 collectors are something else. To have all of it of World War I and World War II, obviously you got to have a Gewehr 98, Car 98 AZ, Q 98.
And I'm saying firearms, so we're going pistols, maybe even
for
MP40s. It could be anything.
Oh man, yeah, there's a lot there.
So do you have room to get 15 different K98Ks?
Yeah, and I guess then it depends. Do you want anything that was like officially accepted by the Germans, or just the ones that were like main issue guns, like just P38 and Luger, or do you want like the CZ27s and the Fomaru 37Ms and high powers and things like that.
I mean, that's a rabbit hole. And I've seen some collections lately, actually, that they've gotten everything from World War II. It wasn't World War One and Two, just two, but everything we've talked about, AA guns included, and it adds up. And that's an insane collection. You have to be real dedicated
Yeah,
for
that's
that.
a lot of money. You got to be pretty rich to afford that. I think I saw a picture of that, and that was some like I forgot who he was, but it's some bigwig in some company who had just boatloads of cash to throw at the collection.
And in the MILSURP universe, we've seen collectors like that, and lately we've seen a lot of pattern collectors for some reason. Not just our pal Cody with his Vetterlies, Aaron with his M95s. Conrad from our first episode of the podcast, he showed us some more photos. It, there's a lot of guys that are out there just getting one model of rifle and getting every one they can get their hands on. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's just kind of what clicks for some people is they want to have every single possible variation of like one gun. So, like for Conrad and his Type 99, shout out to Conrad and his website. He's got like what 80, 90 Type 99s, which is just one type of rifle, but there's that many variations and differences and different makers, different years, different series, different little tidbits here and there. And that's just what some people really like, and those are kind of the people that become the experts on these things that everyone kind of turns to because they know just
Right? They write the books.
one gun. They know it inside and out. They know everything that happened. They know all the history and design and manufacturing and everything.
And I love these guys, but they're a little nuts. I mean,
Yeah,
it's it's they really are dedicated, and they love their guns. But it's true, they're the guys that are writing the books and going to be writing the web articles and making the videos.
yeah. I appreciate their all the work they put into it and all their dedication, but just just not quite what I'm interested in. I mean, for me, variety is the spice of life, so I'm definitely kind of the on the other page of the book for collectors is that I kind of want one of everything, but and then two of nothing.
So the pattern collectors we've seen of like the Type 99s, what are do you think are the most popular pattern collecting patterns? I guess, for lack of a better word.
The ones I see most frequently, it seems like, are definitely K98s are up there. There seems to be a lot of people that are really into them and all collecting, getting all the different years and makers and little variations here and there of those.
Those are
And
fun.
those have a lot of little information tidbits that you can discover and research. And they're well made guns. I think they're overpriced in my opinion, but people seem to like them. And then
They're definitely marked up, 20 something percent on every other Mauser of similar everything.
yeah, like
But
an all matching Type 99 with every single thing is like $1,000, where an all matching K98 with every single thing is what, 2 grand, 3 grand these days.
and you've seen those Russian captures lately. They're treated just the same as regular
Yeah,
K98s.
they're way up there.
So the pattern collector, imagine that must be an epic collection, though, when you do have all the manufacturers and all. Like I said before, some guys want S42, 42 in the same year. They have both of those. They have every part when the H band changed to a stamp band. It's got to be an impressive collection. We know that guy Hal has a number, but
Yeah,
I don't know if he has
he's
all
a
of them.
G98 guy, and he has I don't know how many he has, but at least like 20, 30, and he's got a lot of different cool ones.
So the Mosins, I've seen a lot of Mosin guys.
Yeah, Mosin I'd say is probably the one I see the second most often. I guess just because they were cheap for so long, so it's kind of an easy one to do, and there is quite a bit of variation in them as well.
So let me ask you. So let's say the Mosin guy, he's got 150 Mosins, okay? That's all he has, though. He doesn't like any other guns that much. He has one or two other little things. Everyone always has like a Garand or something. Now, if you're looking for advice on whether the Mosin's a good hunting rifle, or you want to know about the recoil or how heavy it is, he's almost not the guy you want to ask, isn't he? Because he's a little biased, first of all. But don't you want someone more like Danny from MILSURP World? Shout out MILSURP World, who's experienced so many more variations of rifles and shot so many more.
Yeah, like the super in depth guys, they've kind of gone beyond just like the how it shoots and how it handles and like the recoil and how it performed and everything. Like they're kind of they're thinking in 4D, we're operating in 2D or something like that.
I won't hesitate to ask them if this is the right extractor for this year of,
Oh
firearm.
yeah,
They know that.
absolutely.
But if I'm asking, how's the recoil? How does the weight, how's the action compared to other firearms? Those guys might not be the guys for that, I guess.
Nope. Yeah, definitely be the other end of the spectrum. The guys like me and you that have a bunch of different guns that we can compare and contrast and see how this one feels versus that one. Is this one heavier? Is this one lighter? How does recoil feel?
But for the record, though, I want to clear up. I'm not implying like Conrad, who has 100 Arasakas or so, uh, doesn't know about other guns, because I know for a fact he's a big Mosin guy and he has a bunch of other firearms. But I'm just referring to the fact that someone like Danny would have such a broader focus and wider experience that I would probably ask both these guys, that both types of collectors,
Oh yeah.
for information if I'm looking to buy.
Yep. Different information from different sources and just different experiences. It's collecting is kind of whatever you make it, and some people's experience are totally different from others.
All right, why do these guys get like a bad reputation a bit? There's kind of a frown about pattern collectors.
I
I don't know.
guess I've seen some people that are just kind of salty that are just like, man, why do you have 20 of those guns? I can't even find one, and they're just having their own hard time, and they just want one of those, and or at least maybe that's just how I feel, maybe. And then
I don't know. I've seen it's always a little animosity when they talk about these guys.
I can also see the other side of it of somebody posting the one gun they got and they're happy with it, and then the big old pattern collector comes through and with the well, actually, this is what you have, this is what's wrong with it, and just hitting them with the details, which, I mean, it's not their fault. They're the one that bought the gun and didn't do the research, but...
True, true, that is right. The pattern collector is the guy telling you screwed up online,
Yep,
but that's what you want. That's why you're asking.
yep. If you don't want to hear feedback, don't post it.
So you sound like me in that you're not looking for one model. You're looking for just lots of different, sometimes random. I've seen what you've picked up at times. But there are some categories that a lot of people seem to follow, like, USA firearms, of course, German firearms. Besides the most obvious, like those two, we were looking up stuff. What were the ones we've made a list of different non-pattern collecting type collections? I don't know what to call these things.
Yeah, I guess categories or something like that. I guess
Wait, did you say categories?
categories. Oh, that's a good one. I said categories, but I
Oh,
like categories.
I thought you said, like, wow, that fit perfectly.
Nice. Let's see. I guess the most common one you see is like certain wars or like eras. So obviously, there's a ton of people interested in World War II history. So they want, I just want one of each of the main rifles of World War II from each country, and that's something that I actually did and have. So that's one box I can check for the most part.
And now, what countries do you count? Because there's always a debates going on in the MILSUP world. USA, UK, France, Russia, Germany, Japan,
Italy
Italy, and do you go
and
Austria, Hungary? That's the debate.
um,
They get left off, and I put them in because
well, I guess Austria-Hungary didn't technically exist. I do have an Austrian gun from World War II, so I guess I would count it. They're not a major player because they kind of got taken over.
no, but
I
those
mean,
M95s and M95, 30 whatever variants are all available.
yeah, those are worth having. I'd say they belong. And the big one that a lot of people forget that I actually don't have an example of, so I can't say I'm complete, is the Chinese. So a lot of people forget the Chinese had a big role in World War II.
Now,
And they were on our side, they were on the Allied side. Man, they went through hell with the Japanese, and a lot of their rifles show it. That's probably you don't see too many because a lot of them are beat to hell and back.
and they use so many variants,
Yep.
all the FN ones
Yeah, they got
and the Oberndorf ones. And
GU-88s, they got Gewehr 98s, they got FN-24s, FN 1930s. They got their own homemade stuff, all kinds of guns.
I have one of those with the Chinese script on the receiver and, beat to shit. So it's been through it, but it's got a nice carved, cartouche, Chinese symbol cartouche in it. They definitely like to mark up those guns, so they're definitely fun to collect.
Yeah, they're really cool and a ton of history. You just don't. They just fly under the radar, and you don't see them a whole lot, or people just don't know what they are. But that is the one I'm missing to check the box of all the major powers of World War II, and then you can get into all the minor powers and associated countries and ones that lasted a week and a half and things like that. I have a friend who's most of the way there. He has all the minor powers as well.
And then World War One guns, countries are, and those are probably next, right?
Oh yeah, that's where I fit in. That is what I try and collect. So World War One for sure. I try and get I want a handgun and rifle of each major and minor power of World War One. That's my collection goal, and I'm working my way there. I've gotten most of them, but still got quite a few to go. I'm missing a German pistol. I know, they're just expensive.
Well, they're not going to get cheaper, that's for sure.
Yeah. And then the next things on my list are an Italian handgun and a Greek rifle. But other than that, I got British, I got American, I got French, I got Austro-Hungarian, got Russian, so on and so forth.
So any groups that you completed, you could say, like, it's just for satisfaction that you completed 100%, like that you were shooting for, like you're working on your World War One, but was there any, maybe a small one, like just checkmate mid-war
I would
pistols or something?
say each of the major actions, which I guess that's kind of another category, is like the different actions. So I have a Lee Enfield, I have a Mauser, I have a Carcano, I have a Lebel, a Berthier, so on and so forth. So that's like another collecting category that you can definitely get into some weird stuff. I guess the only major thing I'm missing is like a Mannlicher Schonauer.
Ooh. See, I'm a Mauser guy. More than half of my collection are Mausers of some kind. So I want every variant from the 1871 through the 50s. There were some later ones, which I do have. So I'm getting there. I'm working my way up. I have an 1871, a 184, 98. So I have a lot of different things in there, but I don't have that Car 98A. I don't have that Banner Mauser. How could I be a Mauser guy without a Banner Mauser? I don't
Yeah,
know.
come on, are you even trying?
Yeah, so I'm embarrassed saying that, but I was outbid on a bunch lately, so I'll get one soon.
Yeah, and you mentioned 50, so I guess kind of alongside with the different wars or conflicts, there's a lot of people that collect like certain eras. Like I have a friend who collects pre 1900 smokeless powder guns. So think anything like 1880s or 1890s, so like a 1886 Lebel or an 1891 Argentine, things like that.
Yeah, that's cool. I started getting into the old black powder rifles, and one of the groups I'm trying to complete is all the Allen trapdoor conversion rifles, and some of those can get up there, especially the 65 and 66 one. But I have three, working on my fourth. So
Oh, that's pretty cool.
if I ignore the cadet rifles, I can maybe do it in my lifetime. So we'll see.
Yeah, it seems like you have quite a good selection there. I don't know if I have. Let's see. The most I have of any one type of rifle is I have two SMLEs, and they're the same gun except the manufacturer. One's a BSA and one's a Ishapur, both World War One. So that's the closest I come to being a pattern collector right there.
I just thought about it. Your drill DP rifles that you just got, you bought three. So technically, that was your most,
I guess those are legally firearms, even though they've been deactivated.
right? So that's funny too. We're talking about guys with, Cody and Aaron, and those guys have almost in the teens, and Conrad before he has 100. I have three as my most. You have two. We are totally on the opposite spectrum of those guys.
Yeah, and I mean pattern collector and people always joke around like, oh, if you got more than one, you're a pattern collector. Where I guess it just really depends on what it is or what you're doing. But I mean, really, really, any number can be a pattern collector. It can be one, you just really like the pattern and you're interested in it, or two, you just want to compare them, or three, four, five, 70, 80.
Yeah, there was some guys online saying you needed five minimum for a collecting pattern. I don't know what that means, but more than one guy had that thing in their head.
Yeah, I guess it's just a something made up in the collector world. It's just, nope, here's the cutoff, and it's like, nah, it's whatever you want.
Now, recently, I just got the satisfaction of completing a group I was going for, which was the Type 99 transitions.
Oh, nice.
So I had my transition rifle, and I picked up an early one, and I was just waiting for a nice last ditch with a wooden butt plate. And I learned from our own podcast. I talked to Conrad. I was sending him photos, found a good one. I got it. So that now I have an early, a transition, and a last stitch. And now that's the most of any one model I have, just like Conrad. He has
Yep.
100 and I have three.
That's pretty cool. And those are all like have pretty obvious differences. So I would like something like that eventually.
Right. I made a video once. There was at least 10 different differences in the parts and production from it. It's amazing.
Yeah. I guess those are the three main eras or transitions that people kind of categorize them into. There's that word again.
Pattern garage. Yeah, I know a few people that collect by caliber, which sounds kind of weird, but I've heard them say like, "Oh yeah, I need one more 7.65 Mauser and one more, 7 millimeter South American Mauser."
Yeah, there's some out there where there's the choices are kind of limited, or there's some where there's almost unlimited choices, like for 8 millimeter. Man, you can start in pre World War One and go all the way into the 70s almost.
So, is there any pattern or group that you like daydream about? Like I think about, imagine having all the M1 carbine manufacturers is like 10. You can get them all, and that'd be cool. All wartime, but it's probably not
Yeah,
going to
one
happen. Is there anything that you think of that probably not going to happen?
one I kind of want to do is I guess another area you can collect is by by designer. So like I want to get one of each example of like Browning's designs. So like a Auto 5 shotgun and an 1897 shotgun and 1903 and 1911, so on and so forth.
Have you gone out of military much in like old rifles?
No, I haven't
Anything
branched out
commercial?
that much. I got a couple of cowboy guns, but that's about it.
I have a 22 Remington rolling block. That's
Oh, that's cool.
so it's tiny, and uh, I have a Winchester 94, but that's from the 50s. So, but yeah, I
So
don't
it's
get
kind
too
of
many
like a,
commercial anything.
yeah. I mean, I got some modern stuff as well, but nothing I would consider collectible.
And a lot of what I get into, if it's not a particular group or anything, is what I'm either researching or I watch a new MILSURP World or see an Arsenal video or something, and then I get into it. So I find it so weird that these pattern guys can't, like, well, not can't, they just don't get that urge when they see
Yeah,
something's cool. Then they go, wait,
they're just
it's cheap.
hyper focused.
They are.
Yeah, I'm definitely a collector of opportunity. Like I had no plans on buying the gun I most recently bought, but it was just too good of a price to pass up.
We talked about the extremes, the pattern guy with 100 and the guy who has one of everything, but the guys in the middle, I always envy the guys that are the Carcano and the Mosin guys just because of the prices these days. It's kind of hard to be these, the guys that even that get just one of everything. That means you have to get these expensive. Every sniper variant is overpriced.
Yeah, yeah. Some of them can be relatively affordable. Like shoot Carcanos, you're probably not going to pay more than 500 for any of them, just about. Or like Mosins still are somewhat reasonably priced, even though they're getting up there. And I mean, Conrad and his Type 99s, I mean, those have been underappreciated for years, so he's gotten a ton of good deals on them. And then what else do you see often for like patterns? Like I guess infield guys, there's quite a good amount of infield following, and those aren't crazy priced either, except for some like the trials or experimental stuff.
Prices are kind of leveling out the last few weeks, so I'm hoping I can complete some of the shit I'm looking to get. I don't know.
Yeah. Ooh, another somewhat affordable one is like Swiss rifles, because those really haven't gone up a whole lot recently. Or M95s, like Aaron at MILSURP World. And then, but if you hate money, then I've seen a lot of people that collect like just German Lugers. Those are you can't even look at one for under $1,000,
Wow.
and they got like 40, 50 of them. Or U.S. collectors. Some people get really into like the Garands and the 1903s, and those aren't that cheap anymore. And they've got a lot of them, and there's some subtle variations out there. So still some craziness to be had.
Yeah, if I had to make recommendations, it would be if you're thinking of getting U.S. firearms at some point, get them now. Same with the German stuff. Just get it before, because while other stuff is leveling off, like Akanos and came back down again, the U.S. guns, more and more people since the pandemic have learned how to purchase online, I think. So they're going.
Yeah, online prices have certainly
More exposure, too.
skyrocketed over the last few years.
Luckily, my personality doesn't lend itself to focus on any like one thing too much. So and I'm wise. If it's expensive, I'll rule it out. I don't want to think about it.
Yeah, no, I'm not becoming a Luger collector anytime soon.
So I'll stick to my little groups here and there, and whatever floats my boat, and that's it.
Yep.
All right.
Oh yeah, there's a couple other, I guess, categories we forgot to mention. Another one that they get pretty wild is like certain manufacturers. So like I heard there's a lot of big Colt collectors out there. So anything with a Colt logo stamped on it, they have to have. Anything from like special commemorative guns, experimental guns,
When I
guns they made like five of.
Yeah, when I first started getting into collecting, I noticed so many Colt books, and that was what stood out was, wow, Colt must be a its own little world.
Yeah, it seems to kind of stem from the cowboy days when people liked that old stuff, which that seems to be dying now. I think that was a couple of generations before us. But like Colts and Winchesters and even Smith and Wesson guys, there's a lot of Smith and Wesson collectors out there too.
All right, so what is in the works right now? Anything you're gonna buy now, or any part of your collection you're gonna complete now, or that's it? Whatever you comes up.
I'm still working on the World War One handguns and rifles, and I got to get Italy next. I guess you could also collect by country if that's your thing. I've seen people out there that they just want French stuff, or they just want the former Yugoslavian firearms.
Yeah, we need a name for those guys. I don't know, but there's a lot of country guys that they're from there or their families from there, and it's an attainable thing. Like I know a Czechoslovakian guy who he's trying to get all the Czech rifles, and those are fun. He's had 98-22 and a VZ-24 and all the little different variants in between. But if you go to the German ones, good luck.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I saw one guy on Reddit who had like Polish grandparents, so he's getting all like the Polish rifles. But that was a pretty cool thing that you don't see a lot of. Oh yeah, then you have those like real crazy people that collect things like papered bringbacks, or even higher tier than that, like just sniper rifles or something like that, or battle damage guns. I've also seen like people that like unit marks, or oh yeah, here's one that you like, and I know the guys over at MILSURP World like is crests, like Mauser crests.
Yeah, again, I just don't have that much. My ADD, I don't know. I don't have that much focus. I'm all over the place.
You have them like buy one, research a little bit, and like, ooh, that's cool, and move on to the next one.
So I respect Conrad because I know that just from having my three, how much I've learned about them. Imagine though how much he knows.
Oh yeah, he could just rattle facts off left and right.
Yeah, it's impressive. I would ask him pretty much like I said every question except I'd have to ask other people about shooting it. I don't want his bias to come in, but kidding. I always push anyone like that to write a book. So I'm waiting for the Conrad book. I'm waiting for the Aaron M95 book. I like reading books. All right. I think we yapped enough on collecting. We did pattern collecting and get every gun guy collecting. We did get by caliber guy, by country, by designer. Hey, some people want, like you said, Browning, Monlicker. Mauser. Anything Mauser touched, I like.
Yep, you're a Mauser guy.
And we're all crazy in our own way. We all share a passion, whether it's to have 100 of the same gun or 100 different guns. It's still to other people who don't like these MILSURP firearms, we look nuts.
Yeah, and don't let anyone shit on your collection. Your collection's whatever you make it. The gatekeeping needs to die. So if you like it, you like it. If you bought it because it's cheap, if your collection is the cheapest MILSURP you can possibly buy, so be it.
Oh, one more thing here. Where are you on feet in the photo when
I
you're
am
posting your gun?
very pro feet.
Oh, sock, shoe, or bear?
Got
Anything that goes?
Gotta be bear or sock and sandal.
Oh my gosh. I thought I liked that until one of the photos was so high def and it was hairy hobbit feet and the nails were big. I didn't like it at all.
You can count the hairs on there.
I'm a sock guy or a shoe guy. That's it.
I'm a leaning against the fence guy for the most part.
True. I've seen that.
But then you got to make a lot of trips outside when you take a big picture.
Oh, and I recommend everyone post their collections. I still like when people post their collections.
Oh yeah, I never get tired of seeing it.
I've seen some people complaining, like, oh, another collection. Oh, another. Hey, shut up.
Post yours in.
It's not Luger, not a Luger. It's posting a collection.
Yep.
All right. We'll probably be back soon with another podcast on a specific firearm. and probably something else. We'll got a few things in the works and some guests.
Yep, got something coming up on gun shows if that's something that interests you.
Yep, and some special quote unquote experts, our pals, maybe even one of them pattern collectors.
Woohoo.
All right, so catch you next time.
All right, thank you all for listening.
Thank you.